Hello and welcome back to the second half of Access Ann Arbor. I'm your host, Melissa Cohn. We're going to kind of switch gears now a little bit and talk about homeowners and some of the options that they have. Wes, we'll begin with you. As far as existing homeowners, what are some of the options for those who may have, trouble with their mortgage at this right now?
Well, there's several options out there today. There's options for people who want to sell their home, and typically the most popular option for that is the short sale. And that's where the lender will allow them to sell the home for less than what they owe on it,
Okay.
and relieve them of any losses.
Okay.
The other thing is there's options for people who want to stay in their home as far as loan modifications.
Sure.
And that's where the current lender may adjust terms, help them with the better payment. Then there's also government assistance programs,
Okay.
which I think Eric probably has a little bit of information on that.
Okay. There's a couple of programs we want to talk about
Right.
today.
Yeah.
What's the first one?
Well, in February of 2010, President Obama set up a hardest hit fund. So for the states that were being really hardest hit by the housing crisis, monies were set aside for them to get programs put together to help people stay in their homes, in essence. To date, we've gotten just under $500 million at the state level to put programs together. We have 3 programs right now. One is called the Unemployment Subsidy Program.
Okay.
The second one is called a Loan Rescue Program, and the third is a Principal Curtailment Program. So with the Unemployment Subsidy Program, the way that works is if an individual is unemployed or a family member is unemployed in the house that's on the note or mortgage,
Okay.
MSHDA will give up to $3,000 to bring a delinquent account current, and then we'll actually subsidize the mortgage payment for up to $750 per month for up to a year. And on the Loan Rescue Program, that program is set up so that people who have had a one-time setback like unemployment
Okay.
or medical issues or something that's put them behind on their mortgage,
Okay.
we can give them up to $5,000 to bring that account current if they've made it over that one-time occurrence. They're back to work or whatever.
Okay.
Okay. The third program, real briefly, is a little bit more dealing with loan modifications. The Principal Curtailment Program, MSHDA gives up to $10,000. These are for people who have a severe negative equity position. That means they're upside down on their mortgage, in essence.
Okay.
They owe more than it's worth. So we'll give them up to $10,000. We ask the lender to match that dollar amount up to $10,000. So $20,000 could potentially be available to reduce their principal. And then we ask that the lender do a modification so that it lowers their payment amount, hopefully reaching a more sustainable payment for them.
Okay.
So that's kind of how the 3 programs work.
Those are excellent programs. I was not aware.
Yeah, they have been very busy setting
Sure.
these things up. A big part of it has been signing up the servicers, the banks, the lenders that work in Michigan. We've been working really hard on getting them all signed up so they can offer these programs to their customers.
Okay. How are these, I need to ask, how are these promoted?
They're promoted by certainly, first of all, signing up the lenders.
Okay.
We really, when we do a lot of things, we can put the programs together many times, but we ask our participating lenders and our partners to get the word out to their customers.
Okay.
We have certainly do our best to promote things through, the media
Sure.
that's out there, but we really kind of rely on our partners and lenders to get that word out.
Okay. Wonderful. Donna, let's kind of focus over to you. Is it possible for a person to refinance if they owe more than what their home is value?
Yes, it is. On the conventional loan products, which would be a Fannie Mae agency product, they have a DU Refi Plus is what it's called. And you can finance up to 125% of your home's value. You have to have, if you have a second on it, you have to subordinate that second. And the first cannot exceed 95% of the value, with the total 2 combined not exceeding 125.
Okay.
For the FHA programs, they should contact their current servicer because that's who they would work with on those particular products.
Okay. Do you find yourself in this scenario, in the situations? Do you
Oh, there's
see a lot
lots
of
of
this?
people. There is a lot of people that call and request, you know, and not everyone is going to qualify for it,
Okay.
you know, but they do have to call a lender and they could discuss it and then see what the lender is able to do for them to help them out.
Okay. As far as the tax credit, did you want to mention that?
Yeah, we do have a program out right now. You know, federal tax credits were widely used by the federal government to stimulate home buying. And the $7,500 tax credit that was out, it's gone away last year, but that was extremely popular and really motivated people to get out and buy homes. MISHDA does have a federal tax credit that's out there that's called the MCC program.
Okay.
With this federal tax credit, we can give people up to 20% of their mortgage interest back that they pay every year back as a federal tax credit against their year-end tax liability. So when you look at our federal tax credit program that we have out there, you know, it can have a huge benefit for people who are buying a home.
Sure.
So if they are buying, you know, a $100,000 home and their interest that they pay every year is, say, $10,000 a year, this federal tax credit will give them up to $2,000 every year. Okay,
Wow.
this goes year after year
And then
after year.
also,
every-
on
Yeah.
that, you can actually qualify a borrower with that credit, so it actually lowers, they can qualify for more of a house with that
Oh,
credit.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. So the program is very successful. There's a lot of benefit for
Sure.
buyers with this program. I want to point out too that with our programs, not all of the buyers have to be first-time home buyers. Some of them can be repeat buyers in our targeted areas, which
Okay.
again we rely on our lenders to kind of go over that with borrowers once they contact them.
Okay. And Wes, what's your perspective is when you have buyers, or, you know, coming to you for your expertise and
Yeah, well, we still get a lot of calls about the federal tax credit.
You still do, yeah.
Yeah, we get a lot
Sure.
of calls. Is it still available? Is there anything else like it? So
Sure.
yeah, those are always going to be a big hit, and not again, not many people know about this as they did the Obama tax credit, the main
Okay.
or the main federal tax credit.
So that's separate than. That's separate than.
That's totally
these-
separate, yeah. And there's
Okay.
some subtle differences in how these things work.
Okay.
And certainly we're not tax professionals, but
Right.
you know, ours works. It does give you 20% of your mortgage interest back year after year.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
These are excellent programs that need to have more awareness, I think. At least on my end. I don't know. I'm not in that business. I'm in the real estate business, but it just they seem so beneficial. It'd be silly for people not to take advantage, or ask, or be educated about
Right.
it.
Sure.
What's your take on the short sale process? I mean, do you see it? And you always hear that it takes forever on a short sale.
Yeah, well, you know, there's some short sales that can get approved in as little as 10 days. We've seen that.
Wow.
We've also seen some take months, 6, 7,
Right.
8 months.
Those are
So
the stories I hear.
there's a wide variety. There's a wide variety of how long it takes.
Okay.
A lot of it depends on the process of that specific bank who's doing the short sale. A lot of it depends if there's more than one mortgage company. Because if a buyer could have a first mortgage, a second mortgage,
Oh.
there could also be a PMI company involved. In a situation like that, you would have to get short sale approval from all three.
Okay.
And so that could drag out the process a lot longer.
Okay.
So it's really all over the map on how long the process takes. But from a seller standpoint, there's a lot of advantages. If there's no modification available to them and they can't stay in the home and they really need to sell,
Yeah.
there's advantages of the short sale over foreclosure.
Okay.
One of the big
Sure.
advantages is that they could get the mortgage companies, the lien holders, to release any deficiency, so they're not going to come after them at a later time for the losses.
Okay. Okay. Well, kind of switching over to talk a little bit about the mortgage end of it. Is it possible then, if someone does it, has to short sale their home to get another mortgage? I mean,
Conventionally, you do have to wait 2 years after, and that would be the Fannie Mae agency guidelines. You do have to wait 2 years after the sale, and you have to have 20% down on a new home. After 4 years, you only have to have 10%, and then up to after 7 years, it goes back to whatever program they are trying to obtain.
Okay.
On the FHA, they will not allow you to do a short sale unless, especially if you're doing it to take advantage of current market conditions
Okay.
and get the same property or something even superior in the same location. If you were relocating, they would allow that, and there wouldn't be a problem. But otherwise, if you do a short sale, they're going to look at it like a foreclosure, and you
Sure.
would have to wait 3 years after foreclosure,
Okay.
which is really not a whole long time anyway, 3 years
Right.
when you foreclose. So
Okay.
there is always hope.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to know. Erica, is there any type of example that you could give? Is something that you've seen, one of the positive aspects of the?
Well, I think one of the main things that when we hear a lot about the foreclosures that are out there and the issues that people are having with their homes, selling their homes and struggling, is to keep in mind that Michigan has the counseling network throughout the state.
Okay.
Our homeownership counselors, they're doing great work right now with foreclosure prevention. They're really industry experts at looking at and knowing what is available to people in their area. They work with the banks all the time so
Sure.
that they know what to do and when to do it. So one of the things in situations like that is, and it's free, MISHDA pays for that. It's free to the consumer. They can walk in if they're having issues with their mortgage payments,
Okay.
and they can get free counseling help.
Okay. And how would they reach you? Or reach
Right.
the offices?
Our counselors, again, we have them on our MISHDA website.
Okay.
We have a whole counselor section, and it's broken down by county. You just select what county you're in, and
Okay.
up pops up some counseling agencies that are approved by us and offer programs that we'll pay for.
Okay. And you have various offices in the different counties, so
Oh, yeah, we have
and-
counseling agencies throughout the state.
throughout the state. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Is there anything else that you would like to add before we wrap up? Anything else about the?
Well, one thing I think that's been fairly prevalent out there and we've heard a lot about are the loan modification scams. And I think that is something that we continually hear about, and it seems like these predators kind of pop up whenever things kind of turn for the worse. And one of the things to be aware of, there have been some new rulings through I think the FTC where, you're not supposed to pay money in advance of receiving services. So for the loan modification scams, and we've probably all heard things on the radio or TV or about that, if they're asking for money up front, it's usually a scam.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
the first first sign.
First sign. Have you had?
I know of companies who have done that. I've had clients call me asking me if that was the
Asking.
normal practice, and that is not allowed anymore.
Okay, that's too bad. That's too bad to hear that, but it's not. Yeah, it's not uncommon, I don't think, in today's day and age you do hear about that stuff.
Usually when things turn for the worse, there's always people out there looking to profit by,
Right.
by taking advantage of others.
Right. Okay. Did you want to add something?
Well, you guys have a link on your website
Right.
regarding that, correct?
Yeah, we do.
Which I think is important
Yeah.
if someone is considering
Right.
modification.
In our counseling section, we do have some information on loan scams, and the web address that is linked from our website is preventloanscams.org.
Okay.
That's all one word
Wonderful.
with no spaces. Preventloanscams.org.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I want to thank you, all three of you, for taking the time and coming to talk with us today.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. It's very, very important information that we talked about today. And I know every time we do these shows, I learn a little bit more. And today was, today was a good one, a very good show. So thank you all for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And again, I would like to thank all three of my guests today, MISHDA, Visible Homes, and Amera Mortgage, for joining me on Access Ann Arbor. Another wonderful program, and as always, very, very important information. Again, I'm Melissa Cohn. Thanks for watching.